Hello and welcome. My name is Svetlana Stone. You are watching Artist Voices, where we believe it's essential for artist voices to be heard. And we are pleased to have Marysol Millar here at Public Media Network to learn about what does it take to be a musician in the 21st century. Welcome, Marysol.
Thank you.
We're glad that you were able to make it. And could you please tell us about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I am a soprano singer. I grew up in the Kalamazoo area, so I've been in the Epic Center for many musical experiences before, and I grew up singing in the Kalamazoo Children's Chorus, doing stuff with Kalamazoo Symphony, and now I study vocal performance at Western, where I've been for 3 years.
And how you started to do music? Like who were influenced and why you choose vocal voice?
Yeah, so it was actually really funny. I sang myself happy birthday on my first birthday. And so my parents knew, oh yes, she's going to be a singer. So I tried out ballet and gymnastics, typical things. And then it was in choir where I really found a home. And I was in KCC, the Kalamazoo Children's Chorus, for 10 years. So from the time I was 8 until I graduated from high school. So through the opportunities I had with them, I started to realize that singing was really something that I wanted to do and enjoy. And so I would take some solos with that organization, and then I participated in solo and ensemble and high school choirs, and I also did honors choir growing up. And then it was doing Western Michigan's music seminar a couple years in the summer where I did have the opportunity to work one-on-one with faculty and take voice lessons that I realized this is really something that I love doing. I love performing and I love sharing the joy of music with other people, and so I decided to pursue it.
So having this big experience in singing in many different ensembles, when you make your decision that you want to be a singer, how were your parents supportive or not? What conversation you had with them?
Yeah, so I think our parents always want us to, be taken care of and be comfortable. And there's this idea that there's not really a career in music. However, my father,
maybe it's tough.
Right,
career,
yeah, that
right.
it's like too hard.
Very
And
hard,
of course
yeah.
this is not true. But my parents were always supportive of my musical endeavors, but I was also involved in a lot of other stuff, and so we weren't really sure like what was going to happen. But my parents are very supportive of my music. They come to all of my concerts whenever they can. Of course, it's sometimes a hard conversation to say, Mom and Dad, I'm gonna become a singer. Because there's a little bit of uncertainty in that, right? You have to audition for roles, you have to be able to market yourself, and it's very demanding sometimes. And so because parents really care about us, they want us to just be comfortable, but they've always been really supportive of my work.
So speaking for auditioning, are you originally from Kalamazoo, you said, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, speaking for auditioning, like how long it takes to a singer to prepare himself for audition, and what is involved?
Yeah, so
you're in undergrad?
Yes, I'm in undergrad, so I haven't auditioned for like any opera roles or anything yet, but
for the university.
But for the university, I spent about a year in preparation, learning the music, really getting to know it, understanding my translations really well, and then also making sure to work with multiple teachers so that I had a well-rounded understanding of different ways to learn it and different ideas of technique, so that I was really solid in my foundation, auditioning for schools and going into undergrad so that I could make the most of that experience.
And when you got to the school, what was the reaction of your parents?
They, after coming to a couple of choir concerts and having seen me perform, they've been really excited for me because I really do love performing. And I competed in NATS, which is a singing competition for the National Association of Teachers of Singing. And I did that 2 years in a row, and I ended up winning first place in my category. And so they were seeing like, oh, she can be successful in this. And I think they knew that. They were always very, very proud of me and supportive. And so, having actually been there and started to learn, they've seen how much I have grown. And it's been really exciting for all of us.
Is it important for you to feel their support?
I think, yeah, it's important to have the support of a community, especially when we're doing something that is, art, which the whole point of it is to be able to share it with other people. I mean, I enjoy practicing to a certain extent, but I don't sing because I love practicing. I sing because I love sharing it with other people, and even in a choral setting, being able to share that community work with other people is just so beautiful. So I think it's important to have just the support of a community when you're doing art, because without the community, like, what is the point? At least for me.
And what would you try to tell through your music, if there would be like a song or something, or the message that you would like you trying to tell through your music, what it would be?
Yeah. So there's a lot happening in the world right now, and it's honestly kind of a scary time. And I see the need for a lot of healing, and healing is going to be different for everybody. But I don't want music to just be a beautiful, superficial experience. I feel like there really needs to be something more behind it, and an acknowledgement of it doesn't always have to be comfortable. Like, music can help us to explore hard feelings in a safe way. And so I just want to, through my personal experience as a solo musician, to share in those beautiful moments, and also share in some of those uncomfortable moments to help in a communal healing process.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So welcome back. For those of you who just tuned in, we are here at Public Media Network with Marysol. Thank you for being with us. We are eager to learn more about you, about your music, and what does it take to be a musician in the 21st century. And Marysol, being a singer and also like communicate and see among others musicians, what challenges they are facing right now?
Yes. So COVID was a really hard time because there were no live performances. And so I think a lot of organizations are still trying to figure out, how do we reincorporate everybody and also have these live stream concerts, which are so amazing. And so I think kind of readapting to the world as it is now has been a bit of a challenge for musicians. And also there can be a lot of competition. And it's really hard to form connections with people when you see them as a threat or an enemy. And so that's something that I really love about Western, and why I chose to go to Western was no one was ever sabotaging other people or trying to bring people down, and everyone is super, super supportive. And I've seen how that makes everybody just better musicians and more successful. And so I think the competition amongst ourselves, doing that in a healthy way, is something that has been challenging for a lot of musicians right now.
And it's actually very interesting that you mentioned that it's involved competing, and sometimes you can see that musicians compete between each other. So what would be, how musician could support each other if this is something like we may like do it to each other as musicians, what it would be?
So I think the most important thing to remember, and this applies to more than just music, is that somebody else's success does not detract from you as a person and does not take away from your identity. And I feel like as a culture, we should be celebrating everyone's wins more often. Now, obviously, if you are going up for a role and somebody else is going up for a role and they get that role, of course there's going to be some sadness there. Personally, you wanted to do that thing. However, being rude to that person or not celebrating them when they do that is not going to help in any way. And so I think just acknowledging that someone else's success does not detract from who I am as a person is really, really important, because we can all find joy in the successes of other people, and that will make all of us better as people.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's hard. That's hard work.
It is hard work, but I just personally believe that musicians, have nothing to, maybe compete or fight between. But if we go in support to each other, you know, it could be very powerful.
Yeah.
You know, to bring our messages through our art
Yeah.
to this world, like you said, especially at this time when people needs a lot of healing.
Yeah. The work we do is so important, and I feel like also undervalued sometimes. And so it's really important that at least amongst ourselves, people who know and have seen the beauty of it, that we can support each other and be there for each other.
And why do you think that music is important, especially right now?
Music has been a fundamental part of the human experience since the very beginning. The human voice it's always been there. And that's why I love singing so much, because it feels to me like it can be a very primal expression of who we are in some of the best ways. And music allows us to share and communicate things that words don't always do. And it's a way of bringing people together at a time when we're all very isolated because of just the culture that we have here in the U.S., post-pandemic, all of the divisiveness and violence that we see in the world today. And music is something that can help surpass all of that and act as an introduction, if nothing else, in uniting people, which I think is super, super important at this time when so many people are alone.
That's true. That's true. Very powerful, you said, unite people.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And could you please tell us how people can find more information about you or maybe future performances?
Yeah, so I'm having actually a recital in a couple of weeks, and the theme of the recital, or the title, is The Archetypal Heart, and it is an exploration of love in its many forms and how it can create chaos and a return to self and hold us in all of those ways. So that will be on March 25th. It's a Saturday at 1 p.m. in the Irving S. Gilmore School of Music Recital Hall, formerly known as Dalton Center. And that will be there. It will also be live streamed on the WMU School of Music website. It's going to be really wonderful, and I'm very excited to share that work with everybody. And also, I believe if you Google my name, I have a YouTube channel with some of my performances on it. They're from a few years ago, but they are from the competition that I was talking about.
And
that
it's
I had
under
won.
Marysol?
I think it's Marysol Millar 1540. So YouTube loves to assign random numbers. So so you can find my work there. And then I also sing with the WMU choirs, and we will have performances coming up, and all of that is usually on the WMU School of Music website. Yeah.
Thank you, Marysol. I really enjoy to know about you and what you're doing and your point of view. It was very interesting. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, this concludes this episode of Artist Voices, and we are thankful to Marysol for joining us today at Public Media Network, where we believe it's essential for artist voices to be heard. And thank you for being with us, and see you next time.